Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. Welcome back to r/EntitledPeople, where you'll hear stories about people who truly believe that the world revolves around them, and that they'll always get what they want, like these people right here. So OP posts on Facebook, "So y'all, times have changed since I was a kid. A family with 4 kids came up the stairwells trick-or-treating, which is no big deal. Unfortunately, we gave all of our candy out already, and their parents asked us to give them money. €5 a kid, because they were disappointed. Guys, if that were me, I would have totally been super petty and just given them a bunch of pennies. I'm pretty sure I have about 20 bucks in pennies I can get rid of. My friends, in this episode, you're gonna hear 3 super entitled stories. The first story is absolutely insane, and it's a man willing to risk his life in a hospital to get what he wants. The second story, OP encounters a crazy Karen at a Walmart, and we'll finish up with a little revenge on a Karen who cuts in line. Guys, I do hope you stay for the stories today and hit that subscribe button for future Entitled People stories. So, I work overnight in my hospital's COVID ICU, and there's this one patient who is ridiculously entitled. Oh, how he loves to order all of us around. His favorite trick was to wait until we'd finished doing whatever we were doing, and we were going out the door, and he would think of 2 or 3 more things he needed immediately, and then get pissed off when we didn't turn around and immediately do it. And sweet Jesus, you better believe that call light was grafted to his hand. He was basically an all-around attention seeker, as if you can be in the ICU and not get enough attention. Most people beg us to please leave them alone for a little while so they can sleep, but I digress. When he arrived, he was critical enough that we had to intubate him and put him on a ventilator. After 3 days, he'd improved enough to get off the vent, and we switched him to a heated high-flow cannula, which is a good thing, where we can gradually ease people down to hopefully just a regular nasal cannula. Also, it meant that he could eat. So he would get us to get him jello, popsicles, ice water, snacks, etc. at least hourly, and often more frequently than that, all night long. And he didn't even eat all of them. He would take a couple bites and throw the rest away and want another one 10 minutes later. He just wanted someone to go in and wait on him. So this particular night, about 2 weeks after admission, the doc restricted him to only water until the morning because his sugar was running high. The patient did not like this, because there went 75% of his means of getting attention. So he decided that taking off his high flow so that his oxygen sats plummeted was a great idea, because obviously we respond to those alarms damn quick. After the 3rd or 4th time of him deliberately doing this, I went in and sat down and had a blunt talk with him. I said I know it's boring being in isolation, and it sucks that there's no visitors allowed. And yes, the hospital's cable plan leaves much to be desired, but he's hurting himself by doing this, and every time he does it, his oxygen levels take longer to recover. I told him, I get that you don't like being here, and I don't blame you a bit, but you're sabotaging your own recovery and making your stay longer by doing this. So is there anything I can do to help you relax and get some sleep tonight? He said he supposed he could use his laptop, but he needed reading glasses to see the screen. So if I brought him some, he'd stop taking his oxygen off. I told him, I'm sorry, but we don't have disposable reading glasses. I can try to help you increase the text size on your computer, and in the morning, maybe you can have a family member pick up your glasses from home and drop them off for you with security. He said, the nurse has some out there. I'll just use those. I told him that those are her personal reading glasses, and she needs them. Besides, in isolation rooms, whatever comes into your room has to be disposable or your personal property. He then said, then have the hospital optometrist come in and give me new ones. Now, at this point, it's about midnight, and I told him we don't have a hospital optometrist. And even if we did, you're in COVID isolation. Only medically necessary staff are allowed in this unit. Can someone bring you yours? He is getting really mad now, and he says, you'll get me an optometrist. I have a caseworker who oversees my care across 3 countries, and I'll call her and tell her, and she'll make you bring someone in to give me new reading glasses. So the rant went on, but at this point, I'm just done. So I repeat to him that none of this will be happening because you are in COVID isolation, sir. But if you can still think of something reasonable that we can do, we'll be glad to do it. So he's still making demands about glasses, so I leave him because we're clearly not getting anywhere. And contrary to his apparent belief, he's not the only patient in the unit. About 2 minutes later, his call light goes off, and I go and see what he needs. He wants the nurse's glasses. I tell him no. The call light goes on again, and he wants the glasses. I tell him no again. the call light goes on once again, and he wants the glasses. Are you kidding me right now? I tell him no. So he hits the call light once again, and at this point, I don't even say, "Can I help you?" I just tell him that it doesn't matter how many times he asks, the nurse is not gonna give him her glasses, and that he's a grown man who knows better than to behave like this. I told him that our unit is full, and we need to see everybody's needs, not just his. If he has a real need, we're happy to help him, but he needs to accept that he's not getting the nurse's glasses. So you know what he does? He takes off his oxygen. Now we're playing this game again. I gown up, run in, and put it back on his nose and leave. He waits until I'm outside getting wiped down, and then he looks me straight in the eye and takes it off again. I gown up again, go back in, tell him he has to leave it on, put it back in his nose, leave, and he takes it off yet again. At this point, I tap out, because I'm a patient person, but this is beyond ridiculous. And I'm about to exercise my ex-Navy vocabulary on him, so another nurse takes over. So she goes in and tells him that if a patient is a danger to themselves, we have to restrain them. She also tells him that she's not as nice as me, so he gets one chance to knock it off. He lets her leave, and then he takes off his oxygen again. And one thing about this nurse is she doesn't bluff. 5 minutes later, his hands are restrained. Which, honestly, the reason I put up with his BS for so long was because we try our damnedest not to restrain anybody. But at least now he can't take off his oxygen, and maybe I can get some work done. But nope, he's got a new game. Throw a screaming fit. I swear to God, this grown-ass man in his late 60s, screaming that it's not fair, we're also mean, why are we doing this to him, etc., is really a tantrum, and he has no medical excuse to be behaving this way. And with that, now his vitals are all the way messed up, and oh boy, he's sure getting all that attention he wanted, because now we're all in the room trying to get him to stop before he dies. So the nurse tells him to stop it now because he's endangering his own life. He then screams, "Then tell that woman to give me her glasses." He then holds his breath like he's 2 years old. By this point, he's gotten his heart rate so high and his oxygen so low that we have no choice but to sedate him and intubate him and put him back on a ventilator, which he's still on now and may not come off of again, all because he did not get his way. Oh my goodness gracious, guys. You'd think that somebody in their late 60s would be mature and know better than this. I can't believe he held his breath and was willing to risk his life just to get those nurses' glasses. So I love this person's comment right here. This person says, "This isn't a person just willing to endanger himself to get what he wants. This is a person who's willing to let everybody else around him die to get what he wants." Guys, I have so much respect for nurses and doctors that have to probably deal with this stuff on a regular basis, especially with COVID. But oh man, the way OP kept her cool after he kept spamming his call button for absolutely nonsense is incredible. So I was at a Walmart the other day looking at decorations, which are displayed in the main aisle right across the electronics department, where I used to work. I haven't been there in about 3 years, but occasionally I'll get recognized. I'm guessing this is one of those times because I was dressed in all black, nothing even remotely blue. Anyways, I hear a sharp female voice right behind me. I turn around and there's Karen, and she says, "Hey, where's the kitchen utensils?" I told her in the home area. It's up front by the pharmacy. Now, I said this out of pure reflex. I was so used to customers asking me where things were that I think I'll always respond immediately by telling them exactly where to look. Karen says, "I know that. I was just up there and couldn't find them." I told her, "Well, that's where they are. Excuse me." I moved to get past her, which was difficult because she maneuvered her cart in a way that it was pretty much blocking all foot traffic in the busiest part of the store. To my surprise, she actually moved. She had a strange look on her face though, kind of like a deer in headlights, with a lot of rapid blinking. When I walked past, I noticed her taking her phone out and dipping down a side aisle, and she was hustling. Oh lord, I wasn't sure what was about to happen, but I knew it was gonna be loud. So I was walking down another aisle when she bursts out in front of me, slightly out of breath, holding her phone out in front of her, like she was talking on speaker with who I assumed was the customer service line. Karen, out of breath, says, "So, I'm at Walmart, and oh look, here she is. You, come here." She's still panting while she points and beckons at me. I was honestly confused at what was happening. I owed this woman exactly none of my time, and she comes up to me instead and says, "Say hi to Facebook. What's your name?" Shoving the phone into my face. This Karen was recording me in a Facebook live video. I said, "Hi Facebook, why are you friends with her?" And Karen responds, "Ooh, she's got a sense of humor, how cute. She won't tell me her name." And this is Walmart, today's December 17th, 2018 at 10:30 p.m. Then she ends the video, and she says, "I have you on video. I'll be sharing this with the city's Walmart Facebook page. Have a good day." So yeah, it's now 2 days later, and as far as I know, Walmart does not really conduct investigations through Facebook, so I think I'm safe, guys. My friends, I would not even know what to do if some random person just decided to put me on blast on Facebook Live in front of a bunch of people. I think I'd have to grab her phone and smash it, I don't know. But what would you do if someone randomly put you on Facebook Live harassing you like that? I also love this person's comment right here that says, "Oh, that's so sad. She sounds like the type of woman who wonders why her adult children move so far away and never visit anymore." Now that's kinda sad, but it's still no excuse to take out your phone and record somebody for not helping you. So, airports at this time of year are crazy, and I understand the frustration that many people have when flying. Hubby and I are flying home from seeing family, and our flight has been delayed for hours now. Pissed off from family time and waiting in a crowded airport, I wasn't exactly in the mood to be messed with. So we were flying with an airline that I will call Northeast, and for those that don't know, they don't have assigned seats. Basically, you get a zone, and then a number to decide when you board, and seats are first come first serve, kind of like pulling numbers at a deli. After hours of waiting, we were finally called to get in line. Now, we were 54 and this woman was number 59, because I heard her speaking to her partner and child, complaining about being so far back in line. We were there for a few minutes, so naturally hubby and I are having our own conversation. So she stands and shuffles to move in front of us, hoping we won't notice. I pull hubby back into our place in line and continue our conversation disregarding her. I hear her huff and mumble to her husband. As I'm continuing to ignore her, she tries multiple times to innocently pass us. Every time, I just maneuver to block her. Like, "Lady, we aren't even moving and we have numbers. How are you gonna try to cut me?" I subtly try to point out that we are ahead of her by saying, "Hey babe, we're number 54, right?" He responds, "We sure are." He can see that I'm kind of getting annoyed at this woman. Already annoyed at being here for hours and just want to get on the goddamn plane. But now I have to deal with someone cutting us off over and over. I'm getting more and more agitated as she's simply attempting to slip by and loudly sighing at me not moving aside for her. If this were an innocent, unknowing mistake, I wouldn't have cared. But this woman decided that she's more important than everybody else, and there's nothing that pisses me off more than entitled people. So we start moving forward, and I aggressively play chicken with this woman as she kept trying to slip by. Alas, I was too passive, and she uses her son to physically push me out of the way as we got to the counter. She gets her way, and her family end up ahead of us in the tunnel thing, and I'm fuming at this point. As her arrogance grows, so does my anger. Hubby's trying to chill me out, but after hours upon hours of crap, this woman really got to me. I mean, who does that? Entitled idiots, that's who. Not only being willfully malicious, but using your child to break social rules, teaching him that it's okay to just forget rules and push past people. I was literally furious. Her small indiscretion had me close to snapping. I decided to remain calm and be the bigger person, until she turns and smirks at me, giving me a little wink. It's on, witch. It seems that the revenge gods were smiling on me that day, and urging me to act out in some very, very petty revenge. So her family picks out the last empty row, an emergency exit row with extra footroom, and the cow happily settles herself into the corner and starts making preparations for a nice sleep. I, never being one to turn down an opportunity, took the only other two seats together for hubby and myself. How fortunate that my seat be located directly behind her, and thus began my fun. So I stowed my bag and jacket under my seat, but made sure to angle my belongings to a space where if I put enough pressure with my foot, it would push and I could manipulate her seat. I spent the entirety of the flight slamming my foot down on my jacket, preventing her from moving her seat back into a comfortable position. Assuming the seat was defective, she complained, but the flight attendant politely informed her that the flight was full and there was no open seats. She huffed and agreed to spend the rest of her flight in the defective seat, and started attempting to get situated to sleep. I could see her face as she angled her pillow against the window, and so I knew every time she started falling asleep. Poor woman. Every time she drifted off, there must have been some terrible turbulence, given how her seat would suddenly jolt forward and shake her awake. Halfway through, after some berating, she convinced her husband to switch with her. Maybe she'd be more comfortable in another seat. Hopefully she could actually get some sleep. But wouldn't you know, I was feeling a bit cramped and asked my hubby to politely switch with me. He smirked and allowed me to sit behind her. I guess this seat must have been defective too, as she couldn't lean her seat back on this chair either. So in the end, the entitled woman did not get more than 2 minutes of sleep that whole 5-hour flight. I made sure of that. That might seem extreme or super petty, but there you have it. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The funny thing is, she probably wanted to cut in front of people so she could get on the plane first and take a nap. Guys, was saving that little bit of time really worth the 5 hours of sleep she didn't get? 100% not. But entitled people aren't that smart, are they? And that, my friends, brings us to another end of r/entitled people. Guys, if you enjoyed the episode today, do hit that thumbs up. And if you aren't subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button so you can hear some more stories. And if you missed the last episode of r/entitled people, a Karen yells at a woman whose husband happens to be an army drill sergeant. Yikes! Check it out if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you. I really, really mean it.